Welcome back to Flo's Sports Fix on this Wednesday night. Well, the sporting gurus here, the young lads and our very own stat man, they get together for a little podcast they call The Point Post. And they talk about a variety of topics in the AFL scene and what's going on. And they have very interesting conversations. And we're going to bring you one about a rivalry.
It was a fantastic game of footy on Friday night. The final outcome possibly decided by an umpiring decision, which you never want to say, but the AFL admitted it was a wrong call on the holding the ball non-decision on Mark Blitzarv's right in front of Brisbane's goal, but there were other wrong decisions leading up to that one, so you can't say that was the reason for the outcome, certainly. But the thing I want to talk about is we're really looking at the birth of a rivalry here. They've met in the finals recently. Obviously, Geelong beat them to get to the grand final last year. And then 1 point outcome here, and then it was just all going on the field after the game. We had Chris Scott mouthing off to the Brisbane players. We had Chris Fagan really unhappy. Apparently there were shots about Fagan's age fired from either the Geelong players or from Chris Scott, not entirely sure. There was the Gary Rowan hit that you mentioned, and Lachie Neale holding up the three fingers to let him know that he was going to cop a suspension. And you're right, gutless act from Gary Rowan, very similar to the Andrew Gaff hit, in my opinion. Luckily, not the same outcome, though.
Ellis Gellius, little shot across the bow there about Andrew Gaff, too. I like this. The Swans-West Coast rivalry is still alive and well. What do you make of this new budding rivalry? We love the Cats. Less said about that, the better. I'm not a Geelong fan, can we just say. I don't like the way they're going about things at the moment down at the Cattery. I am a huge Brisbane fan. So, box me in. I'm on the Brisbane side of this rivalry. What about you?
Box me in to the Brisbane side too. But what I will say is we need more of these side plots in the game. There's only so long that we can continue to sort of hand out to the generations that watch the AFL, Essendon, Collingwood, Carlton, Collingwood, a rivalry that may have been 5 years ago but isn't really anymore. And then you're sort of, your Sydney GWS, your Crows Ports and your West Coast Freos. We need more of these sort of spicy side plots to be there in the game and to pop up sort of sporadically every season. So considering that this one just seems to be developing off the back of last year, I think, we're all the more spoiled for it. And it's just another one of those fixtures that you can really pen into the calendar and as a neutral in particular and just, really look forward to it, obviously. So, it's only good. It can only be a good thing. So, we need more of it.
All right, I'll agree with that. Moving on to our next talking point. It is your turn, Ellis Gellius. Now, you want to talk about the tag, the hard tag. It is still effective in today's football. Tell us why you've come to that conclusion.
Yes, well, sticking again to that game, which seems to be dominating proceedings in our show tonight. But during that Brisbane-Geelong game, we had Lachie Neale tagged by Mark O'Connor, the Irishman. And I should just point out, Lachie Neale, Jason, he's from the KNT League, which is an Arakwal boy, so a service area for Flow FM.
That's right. Kaiby Bowlight,
we know.
Boy. Sorry to butt in on you there. Kaiby Bowlight Footy Club. He's a star down there. Spent some time down there after he took his Brownlow down there, I think.
As he well should have. And so a shout out to him. And we know how good he is. Obviously won the Brownlow last year by 10 odd points, which is quite a staggering effort. But not quite seeing the same success this season. And that was partly due to the effectiveness of the tag that we saw employed in that game on the weekend just gone. And to Matthew Lloyd's point, which he made today, who I love, I think he's a fantastic pundit on afl.com.au, he was saying the tag is still very much effective and, all the talk about it not being effective is just garbage. It's down to how it's set out and how it's employed, and we saw it and be an absolute masterclass in this game. So, Lachie Neale completely taken out of the game, negated well, and no Lachie Neale, no party for Brisbane Lions.
It's a fair point. Can't argue with that. Your thoughts on that, Dan Crouch? You've seen enough of the footy this year to know whether or not tags should be used in certain circumstances or not. Is the tag still going to be effective going forward?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's more than one way to win a game of footy, and a lot of people say there's no place for the tagger anymore because you just lose too much offensive firepower. But the reality is, I think with the new rule changes, especially specifically the interchange cap, if you can have someone that can defensively run with a top tier midfielder all day, I reckon that's really valuable. And the way Mark O'Connor, shut down Lockie Neal was, evidence of that. And Geelong go on and win the game. So I definitely think there's a place for the tagger, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more of it this year, especially these fit runners who can just go all day and never get tired and lay hard tackles and play their heart out basically for the good of the team, not for the good of winning 40 disposals or kicking 3 or 4 goals.
What I would say is I think it's horses for courses with a hard tag these days. If you're playing a Western Bulldogs at the moment, I mean, who do you tag? You got Dunkley, you got McRae, you got Bontempelli, and is Bontempelli even taggable at the moment? I'm not sure. For Richmond, I mean, Dustin Martin is the obvious one. There are plenty of clubs where there's an example of who do you tag, but if you're playing Carlton right now, why wouldn't you tag Paddy Cripps? If you're playing Brisbane right now, I mean, why wouldn't you tag Lockie Neal? He's a star of the game, so makes perfect sense to me. If you're playing Hawthorn right now, you could argue the point with Tom Mitchell. Yep, he gets 35 most weeks. He's back to his Brownlow medal winning form to start this year, but does he really hurt you? I guess it's a combination of, is the person you want to tag actually taggable? And you could argue the point that Dustin Martin is just as dangerous getting 20 touches as he is getting 35. And is it worth actually tagging them? So I think we're going to see it less than we have in the past, but I agree. I think it's still got a place. And Matthew Lloyd, who was it that said he's one of the great pundits? You are a star.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I agree.
I agree.
Wholeheartedly, Jason. It must be the journalistic instinct we both share.
Yep, I love
editorial instinct, rather.
Yep. So you get you get a little tick.
But not a tick for his current hairstyle, I can tell you that much. Ellis Gelios, Dan Crouch, and our own Statman on their podcast, The Point Post, and you can check it out by going to our Facebook page, Flow FM Australia, and look out for all the different topics that the guys have. An interesting one that they had there on the role of the tagger and also a footy rivalry. We got the Sports Express coming your way. It's coming up next.